Natasha. Yes, Natasha.
Okay, sorry.
Well, I'm gonna just. Hey, Dom. Oh, you need to work for people.
She said, send it to her real quick and she can print it off. Okay. Slide her.
You have a card or something?
Back here.
Okay.
YouTube. Sitting in prison. Okay, I think if I just did it, it came right back up. You're wrong. Give it up. Thank you.
All right, welcome everyone. My name is Marvin Arrington Jr., and I, along with Carell Driscoll, one of the founders of the HOA Alliance. Just like you, we were homeowners, experiencing problems, challenges with our HOA, and so we went looking for answers. And we found the answers were in the subdivision next door and the subdivision around the corner. This was back in 2013, and next door was just getting started. And it was actually where we found our answers, right? Next door has kind of morphed and changed into a lot of different things now. But thank you all for coming out tonight. Hopefully we'll have some very good information for you to take and share with your homeowners in your different respective communities, and hopefully you guys can also make and build relationships, because one of the things that we found is that while we were not talking across subdivision lines, the management companies and the law firms and the developers are talking across subdivision lines. And so that's part of the reason why they have an advantage over us, because we're not sharing information from community to community. So thank you so much to Councilwoman Natasha Williams for helping us host this event tonight, along with State Representative Deborah Bazemore, who should be on her way. I think she was coming from another event, but I think she said she would be here by 6:30. Kevin Tooks, always good to see you. Thank you all again for coming out. I will sit down and be quiet now and let Councilwoman Williams just say hello and bring greetings.
Okay, well, greetings and salutations, and thank you for coming and joining us here in the sensational 6th District. Just a few quick announcements before they get started with the information session. I did want to remind everybody to please make sure, if you're not getting my newsletter, to make sure I get your email before I leave, so that I can add you to my constant contact. If you know somebody that's not getting my newsletter but should be getting my newsletter, let me know that as well so I can try to reach out to them and get them on board with that. A few quick announcements. On Saturday, May 19th, from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, we're going to be doing our bulk trash and paper shredding over in Creel Park. So if you have stuff in your basement, your attic, your garage that you want to get rid of, please make sure to bring it. We don't want you throwing it on the side of the road or in the tree line. Yes, ma'am.
When did you say?
Creel Park, Saturday, this coming Saturday, May 18th, from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. And Creel Park is just here down the street on Creel Road, just down from Love T. Nolan Elementary. So, please, and share that information with, your friends, your relatives, your neighbors, so that they can also, if they got a bunch of stuff in their garage, we're willing to help them get rid of it. Yes, sir.
How large? Love seats and sofa?
We have a flyer. Do I have the flyer?
Yes, in the packet.
Okay, and did you pick up a packet? Because the packet should have a flyer in it, I think, that's got the information about what's excluded.
And, okay, what excluded?
Right, so if it's not on the list of things that's excluded, please bring it. We have had people show up with U-Hauls. So this is your, look, I'm going through my she shed myself to be like, okay, what can I get out of this she shed? Because Lord knows I don't need to hold on to all this stuff.
That's a she shed.
The she shed.
Is that for City of South Fulton residents only?
Yes, for City of South Fulton residents only, they will be checking ID. The service is being provided by Waste Pro, which is our sanitation company, so it is City of South Fulton residents. But if they're not a City of South Fulton resident, but they're your relative and you'd like to assist them, your ID will help them out. May 29th, we are bringing back the Senior Technology Class Series. May the 29th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Creel Park. We will be doing our smartphone class. So please bring your iPhone, bring your Samsung, because we want to show you all of the things that you're able to do with your smartphone. Again, that's going to be May 29th in Creel Park from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Lunch will be served. And on June 6th at Crestwood Event Center, that's a Thursday, we will be having an endometrial cancer awareness event to kick off Endometrial Cancer Awareness Month. I don't know if you know or not, but Black women are exponentially more likely to die from cervical cancer, uterine cancer, endometrial cancer. So we want to get some resources into your hands. It will be in partnership with the Emory University School of Medicine, as well as Emory Winship Cancer Institute. Dr. Sarah Dilly and Dr. Kavanaugh, I may not be pronouncing that right. They are both surgical oncologists who this is all they do they will be able to share with you more information to ensure that, we stay healthy and alive. June 15th is going to be the Father's Day Bingo at Burdette Gym from 1 to 5 p.m. Please, husbands, fathers, please let the men in your life know that we are having a special edition of bingo just for them on June 15th. And again, there may be some prizes and a surprise or two in it. We want to remind you about the Service Line Warranty Program. If you did not take advantage of that, that is still ongoing. So this is to protect you. You have your sewer lines and your water lines that run from your house to the Atlanta watershed lines. Well, those lines that come from your house are your responsibility. So if one of them breaks, it's on you to fix it. Atlanta Watershed's only gonna fix their portion of it. So we wanna make sure that we're getting everybody to sign up for the service line warranty program so you don't get hit with unexpected bills. Just a couple more and I'm gonna be out your way. If senior citizens 65 years and older may be eligible for a 30% discount on your water and your sewer bills. If you are not already taking advantage of this program, please get in touch with my office so that we can get this information into your hands. We want to make sure that you're getting every discount that you are eligible for. Along those lines, we want to remind you of the Georgia Power Income Qualified Discount. If you meet certain income guidelines, you're eligible for a discount on your power bill. And if you are in a house that was built in 1993 or older, Atlanta Watershed Management has a program that will give you a rebate on replacing your toilet and with an energy efficient low flush toilet. So please again reach out to me or to my LS, to Miko, so that we can get this information in your hands as well if you do have older toilets and you would be interested in replacing those. Yes, sir.
Now, you said house. Does condominium qualify, or it is a home?
Tamiko,
Or is it just standalone house?
do condos count as houses?
Or it is a house as well?
Right, it doesn't specify whether it's multifamily, single home, condo, it's just a homeowner.
Okay. I think that's all I have. Our state representative has joined us, so I'm going to sit down and shut up. But if you do have questions for me, I'm going to hang around afterwards to answer any questions that you may have. And if I don't know the answer, for those of you who are familiar with Tamika Leverett, she was formerly the LS for District 5. She is now the LS for District 6. And so she is transitioned over to my office and will be continuing to serve the Old National Corridor as my assistant. So if I don't know the answer, Tamiko's the one who's going to get it for you.
So I guess I'm up. So first and foremost, let me apologize because my understanding was we were starting at 6:30. So I was early based on that. But it's okay, as long as I'm so happy to see everybody here. Because this is an issue, I was talking with somebody coming in the door, that whether you live in District 6, 69, or wherever you live in Georgia, this is a concern for everybody. And so we can answer your questions. We are here to do that. So for those of you that don't know me, can I see hands of those that don't know who I am? I'm shocked. So, do you know if you live in District 69? State. Okay. So, I am State Representative Deborah Bazemore, and I've been serving since 2016, so that's what's shocking me right now. The district was 63 before. Okay, so you knew 63. It wasn't because I asked. It was because they thought it was wise enough to move me. Yeah. So for anybody in here that may not be in this district and you want to know how to find out, go to Open States. Just all together, Open States. Google that. Once you do that and you open up the page, you can then, it says find my legislator. You put your address in there. Once you put your address in there, click, and then if you scroll up, you should see two pictures. One will be your House of Representatives, and the other one will be your state senator. Okay? Because they changed everything. You want? Okay, good, I'm glad. And so all of you know that tomorrow is the last day of early voting.
So are you still a representative until the next election, or are you?
So they changed my district 2 years ago when we did, you know, when we had all the changes done officially. Yeah, after the census came out, that's when my district was changed. I used to have College Park, City of South Fulton, which I helped to create, 4 years working hard, and don't blame me. But yes, worked hard to get the city created, and then I had Union City, I still have a piece of Union City, and Fayetteville, and Clayton County. They took Clayton County and College Park away. So right now I have a little piece of Union City, I have City of South Fulton, and they gave me more in Fayetteville. So that's where I serve. But guess where I live? Who knows where I live? I'm not answering you because you know. I'm not gonna answer you because you know. Where do I live? City of South Fulton. And I live right up the street off of Bethsaida Road. So I'm here, I'm at the grocery store, I'm at the post, I'm everywhere. And guess what? I like to engage everybody. I don't care if you are my constituent or not. I'm gonna have a conversation with you. Because first and foremost, I want to know if you voted, or if you're a voter, or if you're registered. If it's, you know, it's not time for you to vote, you need to be registered. Because guess what? I sit on governmental affairs at the Capitol, and I don't know how many know how many bills come through there about election. And we are fighting, when I say fighting, every single time. They brought a bill not too long ago down there, constitutional. It wasn't constitutional. That, like, you are violating the Constitution. And guess what they say when it comes to the floor of the House? They let it pass through. Comes to the floor of the House, one of my colleagues who is a lawyer stood up, because we need to get it on record. This is not constitutional, Mr. Speaker. You know what his reply was? Well, we're just gonna let everybody vote and see where it goes. And that's exactly what happened. They let everybody vote, and it passed. Another one of my colleagues got up, said, I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. This bill did not go through the right process. It didn't go through any committee. Your bill has to go through committees. Didn't go through committee at all. And now it's on the floor for us to vote for it. You know what he said? We're just gonna let everybody vote and see how it goes. Those are the things that we are dealing with. And I've heard from some people, they're not doing anything down there, and they're just, you know, whatever. And I had a person, I had one of my colleagues that came in shortly after I did. She apologized to all of us, and you know why? Because she was an activist on the outside, and she said, I told all the people that I work with, they're not doing anything down there. Those Democrats, they're not doing anything. When she got in and saw and realized what the process really was, she apologized to all of us. And then she went back to those people that she was working with and explained what the process is and why it is we can't get anything passed.
I have a question. When those type of bills get voted on and passed, what can be done to reverse it?
Say that again?
If those type of bills are voted upon and passed, and it's done unconstitutional, what can be done to reverse it?
So we can bring a lawsuit, we can shout, we can do press conferences like we do, we can do all of that. And guess what? They've already anticipated that. They already have their lawyers. And they can point to one little thing and say, oh yeah, just like when the judge said these maps need to be changed, guess what they did? And I'm sorry, I'm passionate about this thing. Guess what they did? He said, you're gonna make 5 new black districts, right? So they were mad. They said, oh, you gonna make us do that? Okay. So they made the 5 black new districts, but guess what they did? They went after 6 of our people that were already in position, and they pitted two of them against each other. So they said, you guys gonna gain 5, we're gonna take 3 away. And that's exactly what they did. This is the stuff that we are dealing with, and that's why we need you all to show up, to write letters, to call, and guess what? You can come up there and you can sign in at a committee hearing, and you can speak. And you don't have to have a position or title. That is your house. You pay taxes. That's your house. So you sign up and you speak to the issue, whether it's HOA issues or whatever it might be. And you stand up there because it goes on record. And the more of you that speak out, the better it is for us. You help us fight. Not that we're gonna stop fighting, but you help us fight. And going back to the election, I see the same exact people that are coming there. They've already worked with these Republicans that are on the committee, because they outnumber us. And they want certain things passed. They are there every single time we go in committee. And they are pushing what they want. We're not there. They don't hear from us. They hear from us that are on the committee, the representative. We can yell and, make noise because it has to be on record. But after that, we need support. We need you to come, call, do something. Let me know, because I know I'm a little unique in mine and nice, but when it comes to fight for my constituents, I'm serious. And so I sit on, as I said, I sit on governmental affairs, I sit on human relations and aging, I sit on intergovernmental coordination, I also sit on natural resources and environment and small business development. And as I said, I've been there since 2016. I've been in leadership, still in leadership, and I'm working hard. So, and I'm gonna sit down. Oh, thank you. So this is my councilwoman. I just want y'all to know, and this is how I operate. I build relationships. We work together on a regular basis. We talk to each other on a regular basis. I believe she's at the municipal level here at the city, and I'm at the state. We have to be partners. We have to work together. And that's what we do on a regular basis. So I got a phone. First I got a call from one of our constituents, and you know who it is, I'm not gonna mention it, but he called me and he said, look, this is what's going on. And I was somewhere doing something else, and I said, okay. Then I got a call from my councilwoman, and she said, I'm down here at Kroger, can you get here? And I said, okay, let me make myself more, my appearance a little better. And I said, I'll be right there. I changed my clothes and ran down to Kroger, and we had a meeting. So we had a meeting with, I think he was the assistant manager, that's what he said. No, I'm being funny. So he couldn't answer our questions. And I hate belaboring things, especially when you can't answer my questions when I'm working for my constituents. So I said, I will go to another level. So we all work together, and I have been in contact with someone in corporate. And so we are moving that needle forward. And I asked them, this question I asked them, I said, so how long was this on the plan? Didn't get an answer. I said, so did you allow the constituents to talk about this and give their opinion about it? No answer. I said, okay, so tell me too, where did you put these other machines? Where? Oh, well, we put them. I said, so this is what I'm asking you to do. Put it in writing. I said, I need you to send me an email in writing and answer all my questions and tell me where they are everywhere else. Okay, well, I have to go, get approval. Well, then you are not the person I need to talk to. So now I need to talk to your boss so I can get the answers from my constituents, because you came in this community and put those machines in there. And I was really upset at, why would you put them right by the door? That was strategic though. Because I'm checking out over here, and I'm walking, and then I see the machines, I'm gonna stop. No, we're not doing that. And then we need more security, right, Captain? We're gonna need more security. And even though they put your winnings on a card, people take cards. My card has been compromised, I don't know how many times. So we are not doing that. And I told her, I said, the councilwoman and myself, we are standing with our constituents, and you need to move those machines. I will give you a little time, but they need to be moved.
Is that the only one in Cole that they're putting in?
No.
So,
Every Walmart.
So they, when I had the same conversation, I was told that Kroger, the corporation, identified 9 underperforming stores where they are putting in these machines. The only store they would tell me specifically was on Sugarloaf Parkway. They would not tell me where the other 7 stores are. However, I have submitted a FOIA request, a FOIA letter, under Georgia Sunshine Laws. I've sent a request to the Georgia Lottery to get them to tell me where the machines are, since the corporation won't, because they're Georgia Lottery machines, which means that they have to disclose that. So I'm waiting, hopefully Georgia Lottery won't drag their feet about responding, and I'll be able to share exactly where those machines are in the Metro Atlanta area. And if you did not watch the council meeting on Tuesday, the ordinance, there was the first read of the ordinance. I'm gonna have that out to the community at some point this weekend when I can sit down long enough and write that letter. But we had the first read of an ordinance that's gonna put some parameters in place around the governance of the machines. State law does not allow us to preclude a business from having them, but we can put some things in place to regulate where they go, how they, things like that. So I will be sending out the actual ordinance that I've authored and am sponsoring, so that you all can see what the regulations are going to be for any business in the city of South Fulton that thinks they're gonna put these machines in.
So, and what my councilwoman is saying, that is a result of us having a discussion, because I have lobbyists. I don't know if you all understand that we as state legislators, we have people to fight for our behalf or take it up the ladder for us. And so I did talk to the lottery, and so what was suggested, my lobbyist talked to me, and what was suggested is that I asked her to go ahead and put forth some kind of ordinance so that she can get around the state law. Because how many know that this bill was just passed? It's COAMs, COAMs, that's what they call it, COAM. And those are the machines that were put in, and that was passed to give them the right. And so we're gonna continue to work together, and I'm not gonna take up much more time because we have to get to HOA business. No, so let me say this. I know I have seen a thread of comments and different things. Let me just say this. We are already in a food desert. We do not need them to leave. We need them to do what they're supposed to do. That's what we want them to do. So I will keep my foot on their neck, and so will she. And so you all can always contact us, so that if we have to have everybody out there, that's what we'll do. But I'm gonna tell you, I have another conversation coming up that will rectify what is going on. And I told them, I said, let me explain something to you, because when I talked to her the first week when it happened, she went on vacation. She said, well, I can't get back to you because I'm going on vacation. I said, okay. I said, well, let me explain something to you. I won't be able to hold my constituents at bay until you get back. And we weren't able to. So what happened was the news got involved, everybody got involved, and so I'm gonna keep doing that. Just because you tell me something does not mean anything.
I work at Home Depot part-time, and I walk the parking lot at the Coastal River there. showing you any kind of statistical numbers or anything that store is underperforming? Because it seems like over the years, they've been trying to say it's underperforming.
Well, I will get it in writing. That's one other thing that I will ask for. What was the reason? So that will be in writing. But before I sit down, I just want to tell you, I have been, and some people know, I have been the president of my HOA since 2005 or 6, I'm sorry. The subdivision was formed in 2005. I was the 4th person to purchase, and I was voted in as the HOA president. The only reason I don't sit down, because you know as a state rep, you have a lot on your plate, is because I refuse to live in a place where it will go down. And it is not, and I value my home and everybody's not safe, okay? I have tried to turn it over to other people. So if you hear me talking about HOAs, it's because I've been in it for a very long time. And I can tell you that I was the president of Old National Area Residents United, and that's when I connected with the county commissioner. And both he and Ms. Correll came to the meeting over there. And then right shortly after, that's when they formed this HOA Boot Camp.
One last thing. What about the support of the churches in the Old National Court? You get any support from them? I mean, what about their community too? And what we're fighting for doesn't hurt them actually help them.
So right now, the church I have that is the most active and involved is New Life Presbyterian, right on Old National, where Reverend Hadari Williams is the pastor. I'm trying to get the other churches to come along with varying degrees of success, but he is the one church that is right there in the fight, with us in, making sure that we have quality for the residents here on the Old National Corridor. But what I did want to say, Reginald, to your question, is I have had conversations with the South Fulton Development Authority and with our Downtown Development Authority, and I have tasked them with identifying other grocery store options, because we still have that old Ingles down there that we need to put something in. And I believe that Councilwoman Pritchett has reached out to Publix through some connections she has to start a conversation with Publix as well. So whatever Kroger decides to do, we're trying to get, because they are a corporation and, they will try to strong arm us. That's just how corporations are. And we know that they will threaten us. So we're trying to get out ahead of that and explore options for other grocery stores, in case it ever gets to the point where they do decide they want to try to strong arm us, we will already have some alternatives on the table. Because we want to be proactive, and so if there's other angles to this that you think of, that you think we need to pursue, please let either myself or Representative Bazemore know, so that we can, take those under advisement. And we really want to come up with a holistic answer to this problem that got sprung on us. Yes, sir.
James Carmichael, Flat Shoals Homeowners Association, up here off Flat Shoals Road. I got a couple of things I want to talk about, but I'll wait till after the meeting to get to you about that.
Okay.
But it seems to me that they're not being good neighbors. I saw the council meeting on the YouTube the other night, and I heard the proposal that you made, and I got the impression that Kroger was not responding in a neighborly way.
So I would say that I was personally taken aback by the tone of the responses, but you know me, I try to stay positive and I try to stay in a good space and do things, in decency and in order. So I will admit that they weren't necessarily pleasant, but the work is going to continue.
Well, that tells me one thing, that we should be dealing with it, trying to create some way of encouraging people not to use the machines. There's no way to play around with this. And let the machines sit there and respond with this.
So here's how I'm going to answer that. As residents, I encourage you to do everything that you are able to do or that you think should be done to address the problem from the residential perspective. And, you know, whatever you feel as citizens you should do, I 100% support you.
And I say that because I wasn't happy with the store within a store. It came about because I know the Kroger put them in 4 different Krogers, all in strategic areas. And they just happened to be south of I-20. The store within a store.
So, can I interject?
Go ahead.
I just want to put you at ease a little bit. Once the corporation, the person that I'll be dealing with at corporate and the lobbyists, once they see that and you all, I believe there's going to be a change. I'm just saying. That's what I'm used to seeing. Once those entities, once those, no, I'm not being politically correct. I'm telling you that once those entities get involved, a change comes about. That's all I was saying. Oh, I'm going to be down with the people. I don't have to be politically correct at all.
Today I saw the machines at the program. I requested management, and I was given an email address that I needed to email with my concern. I'd like to know what program with our emails of disappointment and not wanting those machines. And my response from them was some type of tax dollars that was coming to the community because of those machines that we needed. And I told them that tax money as opposed to crime, I would choose not to have crime. But I'm wondering if we could flood Kroger's email.
I love that idea. I love that idea because while we're waiting for an answer from corporate, we need to be doing something. So yes, most definitely. So I would advise if somebody can get everybody's email address in here, and then we can get something drafted and then make sure everybody sees it, and then we can send it out and it can be signed by everybody.
And perhaps that email address to Kroger can be put on next door. Or it's not next door, it's next door.
Well, and we have the media's attention now. So I don't know if you saw us on the media. So, yeah, we have the media's attention. So if they wanna, I heard my councilwoman say they're gonna strong arm. Well, we can strong arm too. We have the media. We have the state. We have the lobbyists. So let's try to do that. Okay?
Ms. Bailey, your position, what do you see happening in the old national corridor that may be coming in the next 10 years or so?
So what I always like to do, you can speak to it, because that's the county commissioner. So we all, and that's one thing I want to do too, is for all of us, we have municipalities, your city council people and the mayor, then you have your county commissioners, then you have state, because a lot of times people don't understand who does what and who's supposed to do what. And if you get in touch with somebody that it's not in their purview, then you might get upset if you don't get a response. But we need to educate everyone on, if you go here, this is the person for this, this is the person for that, and this is the person for that. I will always support my county commissioner, and I will always support my city and my city council person. So whatever they are proposing, because you know I deal at the state, so I deal with the state issues. And with that,
good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm sorry, that's the only way I can function. In fact, when I leave here, I'll be past my bedtime. So, my name is Carell Driscoll. I've been in the city of South Fulton, well, was unincorporated South Fulton since 2011. and I've been pretty active. I slowed it down over the last 5 years, but I'm very passionate about community associations and their place in governance. So look forward to interacting with you all and presenting information. Thank you.
So, you guys obviously see why we love working with Councilwoman Williams and Representative Bazemore. And we have been working with them since we first started this organization. And again, because we went and found the answers that we were looking for on Nextdoor, we started this nonprofit to pay it forward so we could share the answers that we found with others, right? Because the last thing you want after you've been at work all day is to get some violation letter from the HOA or the management company. Now, let me ask you this. How many people in here are on their HOA board? Can I see hands? All right, congratulations and condolences. You have been elected to the board for the rest of your life. There will never be a quorum, so you'll never get off the board. How long you say you've been on there since 04? Since 06. But no, seriously, we want to just, talk with you tonight about some of the things that go on in HOAs. We've got up on the screen, and we advertised, 3 different topics for tonight: POA versus HOA, a squatter update from Representative Bazemore. There's been an update on the new squatter law. There was already an existing squatter law, but most people did not know about it, and it was not necessarily very effective. And so the state legislature, Representative Bazemore and others down at the Capitol, made changes to that law this past session. So Representative Bazemore will talk briefly about that. And then Mr. Driscoll on our last panel will be talking about HOA records requests. How many people have made requests to their HOAs for records? And how did you get any response?
I supposed to, on the 12th, I was supposed to be sitting down to talk.
Okay. So we'll talk to you about some strategies and some ideas, because at the end of the day, excuse me, at the end of the day, this is all about sharing, right? Us sharing the knowledge and information we have with you all, so that you all can go back and share it with your neighbors, and so that we can all live in better communities. If everybody knows the rules, it's a lot easier, right? So I see a couple of hands. Here's what I like to do. I like to kind of save questions at the end. We're already running a little behind, so let's kind of get into our topics, and then we'll try to do at least 5 to 10 minutes for questions on each of the 3 topics. And then at the end, if we have time, we can answer as many questions as you want. Hopefully everybody got a pad and a pen. So if you have a question, just write it down so you don't forget it. If you're like me, I'm getting a little more forgetful now. I have to write more things down. But write down your question if you got it, and we'll go from there. So who knows what POA is? Anybody know? Yes, ma'am.
Property Association, Property Ownership Association.
Property Owners Association. And so it is very similar to an HOA, or I heard my friend up here before ask about a condo association. All of those different things are called community associations. So they have mobile park associations. They have all different types of, how many people remember co-ops back in the day? That is another type of community association. And basically what has happened is HOAs have replaced co-ops, right? Nobody's doing co-ops anymore. And what is happening now, we're seeing a trend towards POA. Now let's talk about it. An HOA is really a Georgia nonprofit corporation. 90 to 99% of all HOAs are Georgia nonprofit organizations, corporations, okay? And they're subject to the Georgia Nonprofit Corporation Code. They're subject to the Georgia Nonprofit Corporation Code. Now, most HOAs are also subject to the Georgia Real Estate Act, Title 44, okay? So in a traditional HOA, you have to apply the Georgia Nonprofit Corporation Code and Title 44 of the Georgia Property Act to the rules of your association, okay? Now that is in a traditional HOA. I believe at some point in the 90s and early 2000s, they created the Condominium Act here in the state of Georgia. So condominiums have a specific act that addresses any and everything about a condominium in the state of Georgia. They also have automatic liens, right? Because if you're in a condo and, I don't know, there's an elevator and the elevator goes out and they need to replace it and need everyone to help, they're gonna ask everyone to chip in by likely doing a special assessment, okay? The POA, the Property Owners Association Act, is virtually an attempt by the legislature to make HOAs more like condo associations. There is one act that you can go to and find out any and everything about a POA. Again, it's really POAA, Property Owners Association Act, right? So there's one place where you can go and find everything you need to know about a property owners association, or if you're in a condo, about the condominium association. The reason that they do that, right? Now, so if you are a board member, you probably like the idea of a POA. If you are an individual homeowner, you might not like it as much. What the Condominium Act does and the POA Act, Property Owners Association Act, is similar to the Condominium Act in that it gives an automatic lien to the owners to the association, okay? So let's talk about that and why that might be important. If you are in a traditional HOA, the HOA, you did something wrong, the HOA sends you a letter, they send you a fine, and they put a lien on your house. First they gotta go to court, and they gotta get a judgment, and then they put a lien on your house. Well, what do our cousins do when they do that? I ain't gonna pay that lien, they'll get it when I die. They'll get it when I move, when I sell. Well, the HOA can't pay for the lawn service and the pool man in 30, 40 years. The pool need to be open now.
What pool?
Well, the amenities, that was an example.
Go ahead.
Somebody said preach. Go ahead.
So when we talk about amenities, we're not just talking about the pool or the entrance. That drainage system, those retention and detention ponds, they're also considered to be your amenities. So it's what you see and what you don't see. There's a lot behind the scenes.
And he's absolutely right. And it's more than just amenities, right? It's really the common area property, right? Which might be the signage at the front, which is not as good as a pool, but it is common area property that everyone has to pay for, right? Or that everyone should pay for.
And they should maintain it.
Well, the association should maintain it. So basically, the reason that the Condo Act has the automatic statutory liens is so that they can go ahead, the association has the ability to go ahead and get the work done that needs to be done to maintain the common area property. Now, in a traditional HOA, that's not that important because people have single-family homes. But if you're in a building with 200 or 300 other people, that is a little bit more important because now you're affecting everyone else. And so a property owners association is the legislature's attempt to help associations that may or may not have been able to collect, right, on the money that was due on the liens. So you get the automatic statutory liens, you have enhanced collection powers. Now, let's talk about it. Do y'all know how much they can how much, you know the amount that they can foreclose on your house? Say it one more time. $2,000 or more.
That's the threshold.
That's the minimum amount. If you owe $2,000 to your association, they can begin to foreclose on your house. Now, in a traditional HOA, they have to wait for that lien. They have to wait for you to pay that lien off. In a condo, they don't have to wait. They can foreclose. In a POA, they can go ahead and foreclose, right? And so again, that's why I said if you're on the board and you're responsible for collecting the assessments, you might really like the POA. However, as a homeowner, you may or may not, because guess what I've seen in my practice? Somebody owes $500. The attorney's fees are $1,500. Now you're at $2,000, and they can foreclose on your home that you paid $200,000-$300,000 for, and that you're still paying on every month, right? And so there is a balancing act between individual rights and group rights. Let's see how go with that. What else do we have on? Yeah, so increased regulation, reduced flexibility, some of the things, and there may be higher operating costs with the POA, right? And so, as an individual homeowner, I may not really like the POA, but I understand that it might be a tool that's needed to help. The problem is the interpretation and how people apply it, right? So one of the things that I just want to say, I know Mr. Driscoll wants to say something. One of the things that I want to let everyone know, and we got to make sure we let everyone know, if you are on the board of your association, you are in charge. All right? Not the management companies, not the lawyers. They report to you. You can hire or fire them at will. All right? And so one of the things that we always ask people to do is to try to be a little more neighborly when you are doing this. Think about how you would want to be treated if you were on the other side of receiving that violation. I got a violation notice. They told me I didn't, I was in violation and I needed to pressure wash my driveway. And I said, okay, well, show me the rule. Where's the rule that says I have to pressure wash my driveway? Now, I know that rule doesn't exist because I've been through the rules a million times, right? I know that rule doesn't exist. If you want me to pressure wash my driveway, ask me nicely and I might do it. But you send me a violation letter after I've been at work all day and I get home and I see that, I'm gonna start cussing. So, try to be a little more neighborly if you're on the board. Think about how you would want to be treated. And Mr. Driscoll is chomping at the bits to say something.
I'm itching. I am not a fan of the POA. So I am not an attorney. I'm not a politician. I don't mean I hadn't tried. But when you think about concentrating that much power into a few people, I have a problem with that, right? Especially when they don't have to go through the same continuing education as our state reps, as our municipal elected individuals and our commissioners. They don't have the necessary training to lead the community, in my opinion. They should go out and pursue it. No negative vibe toward board members. I appreciate your service. I'm just speaking from tales from the trenches. I was a board member. I was a member before that, now I'm a member. And everyone is not in the same place in their life, right? We have some people who get ill, or there's I got ill. We were blessed to be able to continue, but not everybody's that fortunate. So when you look at my community tried hard. They said we didn't have the ability to collect as an HOA. Well, I read through those documents several times. I countered them by saying, oh, it's here. It's here, it's there. That just proved to me my board members were not reading the documents, which goes against that grain of not being trained or educated. This is how you all combat the board. Read the governing documents. A lot of questions that I get phone calls. It's because people are not reading the documents. Take that time and do not submit. And this is my professional living experience to a POA. Now, I go between Commissioner Arrington and Attorney Arrington. He may be working for you guys against the community. He may be working for the community, to help get you all in order. You all have to voluntarily submit to the POA. Overall, it takes the vote of the members of the community, but you don't have a choice anyway. You're a member. I'm sorry?
What can the members do if it's both? Like we have our amendment has been changed and recorded with the state, but they did not hit the 66%. And what they presented to the board, to the homeowners, is not what they filed with the state. So what do we do now?
Oh, so great question. The same power that you all have always had, collectively, you have the power. Vote them out.
Oh, wait.
Vote them out.
That's one of my other questions. Because they,
No, so let's not. I don't want to bunny trail, but I get where you're coming from. Collectively, the power belongs to the members of the community.
Right.
The thing is, it's so hard for us to get organized.
Exactly.
You see it in voting elections. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I used to be an advocate of next door. I stayed away from that thing 5 years. I just joined, and it looked like I'm about to back off again. Collectively, you all need to just come together in your community. I've taught several communities through either strategically going out. Didn't they campaign? Didn't he campaign? If you all want to replace that, campaign. So just work on that. I ain't want to take over, but do not move to a POA. I'm on the back up. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, let's take a couple comments. We'll take a couple comments and we want to finish this one.
I'm very vocal when it comes to condominiums because I've been on the board for like 10 years. I was taken out, removed from the board, and now I'm back on the board.
Jesus.
Now, we talked about election, vote them out. How do you vote somebody out when you send your ballot off the premises and they're cheating?
Well,
I send them a document.
when they're sending them where now?
To the management company, supposed to be the county. And I sent you a copy of that from the senator that talked about the irregularity in the election, and they recommended that we do the election over. I sent that to you.
Yeah, I remember. So, it's hard to vote them out. You know why? We can't even get a quorum. You can't even get a quorum to conduct a vote. Now, one of the things that has been good, and I know Representative Bazemore wanted to jump in too. One of the things that has been good, there was a lot of bad stuff about COVID, but the best thing about COVID was Zoom. Because now you can have a Zoom meeting and everybody can be in their house and they can attend. And so that is at least one way, that you might be able to increase participation. But that doesn't stop what they're doing. What they're doing, because they want people to go to POA, right? Especially the management companies and the attorneys, because they're the ones really making the money, right? And so the part of the reason we started this, because we're like, wait a minute, you pay for your house, and you got to pay in your house for 30 years, and then we got to pay somebody else too on top of that. right? And so how do we turn that around? How do we get some money back from those people, from those management companies and those attorney firms? But what they do, the young lady talked about, you know, what they do with the POA, they'll go file something, and this is what they've been doing lately. There's language, and I think this might be your association, there's language in the declaration where it says that the association or the declarant can convert to a POA at any time. So the declarant, let's just back up. The declarant, people talk about the builder or the developer. The builder or the developer is irrelevant. It doesn't even really exist, right? It may be there. The person that is important is the declarant. The declarant is the person that goes out and buys the 100 acres or the 40 acres or the 20 acres and says, I declare that on this land you can only wear red vests, right? And so anybody that comes and buys property on this land, you can only wear red vests and white dresses and black polka dots.
I like that.
Those are, I declared that for all 100 acres, right? That is the declarant. The declarant usually always has the power to do whatever they want to do, right? Now, typically for the association, there's a two-thirds vote required to amend the bylaws or to amend the declaration, right? But the declarant can just sign off on amendment to the declaration. So what they're doing now, what these lawyers have done now is put language in there that says the association or the declarant can do it. And then once the declarant is gone, then now they try to say, oh, the association can do the same thing that the declarant did. The association doesn't have that same power. But what they're doing is they're just doing it because nobody's saying anything. I had one association, the declarant's right to appoint board members expired in 2008, and it was 2014, and they were still appointing board members because guess what? Not one homeowner has spoke up and said, it's time for us to be in charge.
How many people say?
So hold on, let's do this, because we're gonna have some good questions and comments. Let's continue, go to the next slide. I think we talked about pros and cons of HOA. The HOA is a little more flexible, especially if you're a homeowner. They can't foreclose on you after $2,000, right? They can go get a lien, they can go get a judgment, but they can't foreclose on your home. So if you're an individual homeowner, you might not want to sign on to go to a POA. And my understanding of the way the POAs work, even if 2/3 of the homeowners say that they want to go to a POA, the 1/3 that don't are not subject to the POA. The 1/3 that don't are not subject to the POA.
So you have
changed it.
different entities going on one.
Well, that's part of the reason why they're trying to switch to a POA, right? Because, and then it wouldn't be until that someone in that 1/3 sold their property to somebody else and sent a closing letter to the HOA, and the HOA would make them sign up for the POA, which is why they're trying to circumvent it now by saying, oh, even after the declarant is gone, the association can just decide to do this on their own. And I've seen something even more egregious than the one in your thing, but I know Representative Bazemore wanted to say something.
So I just wanted to piggyback on something somebody asked about the vote and not having a quorum. So I was present at one of the HOA meetings when there was not a quorum, and I advised one of the members to ask to relax the rules. And first of all, let me back up, because the management company is supposed to be there, not somewhere else. They're supposed to be at the meeting because they're supposed to be running the meeting when an election is taking place.
Don't trust
Nobody on the board is supposed to be doing that. It's supposed to be the association, the management company. And so they were there, and I told the person, go ahead and ask to relax the rules, because people started to leave and they didn't have a quorum. And so they relaxed them, and then they were able to vote. However, after that happened, nice vote, everything went, I helped with the ballot and all of that. The one that lost, she decided she didn't like that outcome, so she wanted to say, I'm sorry, there wasn't a quorum, but the rules were relaxed. So it was approved that they could be relaxed in order to move forward.
So the outcome is positive, you all were able to.
Yeah, I mean, it worked, everything went smooth once the person asked for the rules to be relaxed.
Who makes the decision to relax the
So the
That man
management
that
company,
just walked in, he make all this.
the management company, because they're the one. So the management company did because they are the ones that are conducting the meeting and the election. So that's where it was posed to them, okay? And
So let's talk about that because I'll wait till we're there.
So from a management company perspective, they work for the association. So technically, the secretary of the association owns the records, right? The board are responsible for all the services that the management company offers. In other words, those services are provided to you all as members, and they just outsource it. What I've seen, and board members, listen to me, you all are in charge. They allow the management companies and the attorneys to hijack leading the community. I mean, when I think about my community, right? I was on the board for 5 years. I believe in 2 terms, and then I was out. I rolled off. That's why every time somebody say they've been on 10 years, I'm like, I'm trying to pray for you.
thank you.
But the management company, they are not your friends. Take a look at their contract. If you're a board member rolling on, you've never taken a look at the contract. They have a right to make a profit. You allow them to be the middle person to all vendors. When they get those quotes back that you request, they mark them up. I've seen them go up as 100%, as high as 100%, and I'm quite sure Marvin was, you don't mind talking about this. Okay, he will speak to that experience. Don't allow them to take over. You are in charge. Based on your fiduciary duty, you have a choice to take the recommendation of the professionals, or you can use your own decision-making and take your own recommendation. I don't believe many of the management companies are company. Read your documents, make sure you know them, and stay abreast of your position, because most of you all are officers. I hear that name, president, get thrown around several times. I spent 6 years in litigation. I was on the board for 5 years, maybe it was closer to 7 years in litigation. The president, in my opinion, is the position that's at the most risk. So, and get some continuing education. YouTube have what you need to know. You want to start there, or you can just come to the HOA line.
So to his point, what I want to say is I can tell you about our HOA, and I know we have bad actors. So I made sure, let me back up, when we got the property, okay, they had to turn the property over to us. We then tried, all of us that were on the board, to make sure we did everything, fill all the duties and everything. Well, the treasurers, we had 2. They were working, and it got overwhelming. It was just too much. So we then decided to give it back to the same management company that the builders had. But what I did was I let them know quick and in a hurry. I said, you all are not in control. We live here, and everybody that owns here owns Carrington Point, and you don't. So you will not do anything until you come before the board. You will not answer any question until you ask the board. And so that's how we operate. You send us an email to let us know what's going on, and we will respond. If we have to convene, we will do that, and then we deal going forward. Vendors, I deal with all the vendors. They don't deal with the vendors. I negotiate. So, and exactly what he's saying is accurate.
The board deal with the vendors, not the vendor?
I'm a board member. I deal with the vendors. and now there's 6 of us. At one time, I was the only one on the board. And that's why I'm saying nobody wanted to do it, but I will, because I live there. So what I'm saying to you is you have to lay down the law, just like he said, lay down the law, because you own the property. That's not their property, and people are confused too, because in my community, they were like, oh, Alice said, and Lee Mason said. I said, hold up, wait a minute. I said, do you realize who owns Carrington Point? I said, we own Carrington Point. The board says, that's who says, we direct them, and so that's what happened. And I want to make a point to what Commissioner said too. I'm gonna get you, I see you. What he said earlier. When they send you a letter that you are in violation, what we always do, I tell them, do not send a letter out unless you go to that covenant and you find it in that covenant. And when you send that letter, that should be quoted on what page, what section, and everything that is in violation. And that's how we do it.
But see, the problem is, and we're gonna take questions, the problem is, go back to what Carell said, they got people that they paying $15, $20 an hour to work at this management company. They don't have half the education, half the money, half the knowledge that the people in this room do.
Exactly.
Right? And so they got little people that they're paying $15, $20 an hour to read to tell you what to do in your house. Well, I'm sorry, guess what? Mr. Charlie's ice is not colder than my ice. All ice freeze at the same temperature. Okay? So I'm just saying because no, I'm just telling you because this is what happens. When Mr. Charlie say something, they say, how high, Mr. Charlie? Mr. Charlie say jump, they say, how high? You want me to jump, Mr. Charlie? If you try to tell somebody something, they want to start Listen, the board is in charge, you all are in charge, you tell them what to do. Let's take some questions and then we're gonna go to the squad.
The young lady all the way in the back in the black, she
All right.
had her hand up forever.
We're gonna start with her.
I can't see where
Talking about the code funds of the POAs that already existing HOA. What about neighborhoods that do not have HOAs? They've expired, and we have very little participation in our neighborhoods. When you discuss something, help us start HOA or POA, whatever, and kind of guide those types of neighborhoods to our neighborhoods to what would be the most beneficial. And one of the key topics that we have a retainer thing that's overrun, the retention pond. Totally overrun, in our neighborhood, and we don't know what to do about it. We've begun to collect some funds from a few neighborhoods but we do not have full participation. And we also have squatters in our neighborhood and a lot of management companies that have purchased properties and they're leasing. So those people have no incentive to participate in donating. So that's just going around and doing our grants.
So 90% of most community associations, especially HOAs, condo associations, POAs, have mandatory membership. When you buy there, you are mandatorily a member. When you sign on the line, what they've done, what the declarant did, he bought the 100 acres, went out, made a plat, divided it into lots, and so you are now subject. So let's talk about what we're talking about. The bylaws are how you run the company, right? The Declaration of Protective Covenants. Some people call it the Declaration, some people call it the Covenants. It's the same thing, it's the Declaration of Protective Covenants. The Declaration of Protective Covenants runs with the land. So I don't know that your HOA has expired. Your association may not be active, but those covenants, those protective covenants that say you can only wear a red vest, a white dress, and a polka dot blouse, those covenants still run with the land.
And them dudes.
They still run with the land. So you can find those covenants from the Clerk of Superior Court, Fulton County. Also, there's a website, gsccca.org, Georgia Superior Court Clerks Cooperative Authority. gsccca.org. You can go there and you can pull it down for the whole state. real estate records for the whole state from any county. Yes, sir.
All right, my name is President Shelton. I'm the Vice President of Old National East Homeowners Association.
Bless your heart.
We have a Facebook, we have a group meeting, we have a Zoom, we have all areas of communication. Now, the POA is out, you know, and it's a voluntary HOA. Now, a lot of communities out here, you should understand, these are not new communities. They'll establish communities, they'll pass them on from parents to whomever. Like she was saying, we've had the same problem with squatters, we had the same problem with people renting. Either way, they don't participate. So as a community, what we did see, fix, and click. If you can take a picture of a property, we got more properties where the grass is too high, and the code enforcement does a good job in doing what they're supposed to do and rectifying that situation. The problem is participation. Now, it's good to see everybody here, and I pray to God that everybody will let their own community get involved. We got over 520 homes in our community, and we got 60 people out there. When we talk to them, and I'm telling you, I'm not just talking to you guys, I'm really talking to us. You feel me? So, if you don't get the participation in anything you do, then Mr. Charlie already trying to take over the community. You know, I'm gonna tell you, we live 7 minutes from the airport, 15 minutes downtown, and with not a runway. If you don't believe what they tell you about crime or this, the same thing, I'm from Atlanta. I remember Pittsburgh and Jordan, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? Go over there and try to get a house now. Go over and try to get a house now. Now the same target that happened to them is the same target that happened to us. And if you, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't moving no more. I'm done. I'm done. And I leave it fighting for our community, but I'm telling you, you have to get involved. That's why I asked about the churches, because I'm pissed at it. Because before, when I was coming up, we went to Free for All on North Avenue, when we stayed on 49 West Lake. You know I can go there and get a job? You know I can go, we can go there and get fed? I don't know what's happening. And I don't think, I'm just going tonight. You think about it. If the churches collectively work together in the things that we are trying to do, how much stronger will we be? And I don't know where you guys stand, but take action.
So to your point, you're absolutely right. It's apathy, right? And it's not really that people don't care, it's that people are busy. People got to go to work, they got kids, they got other stuff they're doing, fraternities, sororities, nonprofits. So people are busy, it's apathy, right? Representative Bazemore was talking about the election. It's probably 150,000 people in each county commission district. But you know no more than 15, 25,000 gonna vote, right? 10% of that, 10 to 20% of that is gonna vote. And so it's the same everywhere you go. But you know, what we did in our community, we had our subdivision, I was in Regency Oaks with Carell Driscoll. We took over, right? And the people that were on our board, whatever Mr. Charlie said to them, they came back and told us. And we said, okay, well, can you tell Mr. Charlie this? They said, oh, no, we can't tell Mr. Charlie that. And so we said, okay, well, you can't represent us. We're going to represent ourselves. Because we need, Mr. Charlie needs to, this is what we want Mr. Charlie to know, okay? And so we did that ourselves, but one of the ways we did it, guess what we did? It's one way in and out of our subdivision over there. So we went and bought a big thing of coffee from Starbucks, one of them big ones, right? We stood in front of the subdivision and gave out free coffee to everybody and had everybody sign a petition. And then on Mother's Day, we gave out free roses, right? And you know we love fried chicken and watermelon. Look, there are ways to entice people, right? One of the things that have worked in our community, because we got a pool, come summertime, everybody want access to that pool. And they'll pay their fees, they'll pay their dues, the grandkids coming over, the nieces and the nephews, they gonna pay because they want to have access, right? So, yes ma'am, yes.
So, what if it's not always the management company or the attorney? I have no problem with it whatsoever. My problem is not over. It's unrealistic.
So yeah, I mean, so here's what happened. People get hungry with power. It becomes ego and power. And you also have people that are inexperienced. One of the things that we do, the United Way has a program called United Way VIP. It trains people how to serve on nonprofit boards. One of the best classes you'll ever take. It's like 12 to 16 weeks. And each week they bring in somebody to teach you something else on how to serve on a nonprofit board. Now it doesn't teach you how to serve on an HOA board, but an HOA board is a nonprofit board, right? And so you just get basic training. It's a great program. There's a lady named Janice Robinson that runs it. So definitely think about that. Yes, sir.
No,
You gonna say something?
I just listened to
Yes,
the
ma'am.
question.
And then we
VIP program,
we go to Alvin in the back.
you
Yes,
recommended me, and it was a good program.
Okay,
Take
so
it.
you said the board is in charge. What about the people? Why aren't we in charge?
well, the people are, so the members are in charge, but the members are responsible for electing a board that speaks on behalf of the association. Now, the members, as he stated earlier, the members have the power to elect board members. They also have the power to remove board members.
And provide.
Board members have the power to speak on behalf of the association after they've been elected or appointed.
But do the members have the power to have the board to get approval from them before they speak to somebody?
No. It's just like a company. That's like, her question was, do the members have the power to make the board get permission from the members before going to speak to someone? No.
Micromanagement is not in there.
Once you elect them, they are in charge. So you have to choose who you elect wisely.
And it's just like electing us, because we speak for you all. And I have almost 60,000 constituents. So if I heard from everybody, I would never get anything done, because we already know. But I understand why you're asking the question. So that's why it's imperative that you make sure you know who you are voting in. That's just like
That's the key.
if I am not standing up for your principles and I'm not doing what you want me to do, don't vote for me. Vote me out. And that's how you have to do it. You have to stand up and vote people out and get the right people sitting there.
And let me just, and I guess because short people problems. Right, short people problems. You know, let me just add to that I have about 15,000 in the district now. So there's about 15,000 people. When you elect, the representative democracy means that when you elect me to hear your concerns, address your issues, get your street paved, get the pothole filled, get the trash off the streets, do all of those things. The other side of that is that you have to trust me to behave myself, to operate in decency and in order and try to stay positive.
She's ethical.
To be upright, to have ethics, morals, and integrity, to do the things, not just do things right, but do right things.
Yes.
But that also means that every idea will be heard, but every idea is not going to be acted on. Because I've got to consider what it means for 15,000 people. And potentially more if it's something like this ordinance around these COAM machines that is going to affect all 112,000 people that live in the city. So you may have what you think is a great idea, but I have a lot of stuff that I have to take into consideration in deciding whether or not this is an idea that can be pursued. It's gonna be the same thing, with your church, your sorority, your fraternity, the Eastern Stars, the Masons, National Council of Negro Women, 100 Black Men, pick an organization. You elect people to be in leadership and to represent you, but then you have to let them represent you. And if collectively enough of 15,000 people don't think that I'm doing the job, then I'm on the ballot again. Pick somebody else that you think will do that.
Good luck.
All right, so look, we got Brother Alvin in the back, and then we're gonna we got two more topics, y'all. We don't have a lot of time. We definitely want to answer questions because that's really the best part about this, Brother Alvin, and then we're gonna move on to a squatter update, and maybe ask Deb to keep it to about 5 minutes or less. All right, yes, sir. So you,
What are some of the advantages of having HOA? Because we don't oftentimes hear enough of why we have and why they're.
Okay, so the one that you hear the most is increasing property values, right? I know we know the market drives that, but you know, if somebody driving to the neighborhood and they see a number of yards with the grass high, right? Code enforcement can step in, but the HOA is more immediate. They're in the place, and those rules are a contract between the community association and the homeowners. So there is significant value. And now municipality don't take care of your drainage system. They don't pay for that. They don't pay for your detention and retention ponds. That's all on the HOA. I know they call it dues, but I call it another tax. You're paying taxes locally for those shared interests that you all have. I know some of us have pools, tennis courts, front entrances. Our entrance is what? How many feet is that? About 5? Well, Reeves Oaks is about 500 feet. All of that has to be maintained. And then we have a clubhouse. All of that costs. Generally, when you move into a community association, there are some amenities that you're interested in that you can't afford on your own. So you get into that shared cost model. So code enforcement come up to a certain point and then it stops. Like the police department come up to a certain point, a little bit further than code enforcement, and then it stops. But your community association is a contractual agreement, a contractual obligation. And I think Marvin alluded to it earlier. When you all think about all of the governing documents, right, starting with that article of incorporation, Declaration of Protective Covenants, the bylaws, some of you all may have neighborhood living standards, and then when you think about the official code of Georgia, from what I've learned, and I'm not a practicing attorney, they take all of that as like a huge single contract. So when you have these disagreements with your community association, make sure you have your head wrapped around those documents, because when you sit down and go and hire that attorney, you want to make sure that you're getting the answers you need. Most of the time it's just clarification. There's a significant amount of value in a community association, right? You don't want someone parking about 10 cars in their yard, jacking it up with oil on the street. All of those things count against your property value. Even your mailbox. I can recall when we was on the board, we replaced the entire community's mailboxes. We just took some of the dues that we collected and paid for it, and it increased our community property value. So there is a significant amount of value. You may not perceive it as an individual, but collectively, they're more important than you all as individuals. When you come together, your entire community outweighs your individual desires. Like, I don't want my next door neighbor with green windows or green door. Stick with the theme of the community so it will remain attractive. It's an investment. So hopefully that answers your question. I was trying not to be with you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. Reynolds, my friend, how are you? So,
He's becoming
are you familiar with Summer Tree? How many people are familiar with Summer Tree? That's one of the reasons why you need a HOA.
So let's do this. It's 7:38. I want to be mindful of time. If you could give us a brief update on what happened with the squatters, and then we can go into a brief HOA records request. And then I want to invite a couple of our vendors up. We got Cooper and Gray here, and also Emergency Roofing Solutions, just to say brief words before we leave. So Representative Bazemore, if you will, just give us a brief update on the
I'm
squad.
going to be very brief, but what I want to say to the young lady in the back, please make sure you get your retention pond cleaned out, because code enforcement will come after you, and it will cost you a lot of money. I know that firsthand. Let me address this, and then he'll get to questions, more questions. Just to let you all know, down at the Georgia General Assembly, I don't know how many of you heard, but we passed the House Bill 1017. House Bill 1017. Let me say this. You can go on and find out anything that we are doing down at that General Assembly. And I'm going to be quick. I just want to tell you, if you go on Google Georgia General Assembly, you pull that page up, maneuver through. You can watch us every day. While we're on the floor of the House, you can watch while the senators are working. You can go to committee meetings. You can see everything. You can see votes. You can see bills. So I'm asking you to go and pull this bill up so you know the particulars. The bottom line is we did not have the teeth prior to, and our law enforcement didn't have the teeth prior to this bill. You had to wait and wait and wait and wait to get somebody out of your house, your own house. And you see it on TV all the time. Now it's 3 days. 3 days. And they have to prove. It is too long. But they have to prove now. They have to have an affidavit, and they have to prove to the marshal or whoever comes, sheriff or whoever comes, that they are supposed to be in that house. And if not, they will be arrested and taken out of there.
So that means the lease, that fake lease no longer works.
That's right. It has 3 days. So once, if it's my house.
When does it take effect? July 1st?
Oh, yes.
Too long.
Starting July 1st.
Yes. So if it's my house and somebody comes when I'm on vacation or out of the country somewhere, and I come back and they're in my house, and I say, wait a minute, that's my house. And if I can prove, I have an affidavit, I have my paperwork and prove it, and they don't, they will be taken out of there. 3 days. Will be taken out. You go through magistrate court, and this will be dealt with quickly. Okay? So I don't want to, you can speak some more to it if you like, but I just wanted to let you know, I know it was a long, hard process prior. We saw on TV, all of these people living in other people's homes, and you standing out there and can't do anything, but now you can. You can do something, and make sure you have your paperwork, because if the other person doesn't, but if both of you have paperwork, then it's going to take a little longer, because then they have to investigate, it goes through the court system, and then they can kick the person out when they find that you're
a lot of them create leases and stuff like
Fake
that.
lease.
But that's the thing, if it's not a real lease, it's up to the court at that point. So they will have to go through that process.
So you all know that I'm going to have air mattress for the courthouse. Little squatters. But my question is, with the 3 days, is the 3 days, so the owner calls?
From the time the owner calls and produces an affidavit that they are the homeowner.
So we can come out and say, hey, we have this affidavit, you have 3 days to leave, or is it just the 3 days?
No, they let them know if they can't produce an affidavit that is valid, they will be taken out of it, because they have the valid one from the home. Now, if they have one and the owner has one and they both look valid, then you have to go through the court. But it's still not going to be as long as it was prior. You have a question?
My question is identifying squatters in your neighborhood. So you have a lot of rented houses or houses for rent. And the process of kind of identifying who is squatting and whatever, because the owner may not be in town. So is there a way to kind of identify squatters?
So if you have HOA, this is what I do.
That's-
Okay, you don't have an HOA, so
Copy of the bill so we can make copies.
yes.
We're gonna make copies of the bill so we
Yeah.
can pass it
He's
out.
gonna give you a copy of the actual bill so you can look it through. And I have my, police here, my sister. And so we know that they are always on the job to help us. But what I'm gonna say is, then I would call on the council and ask them, or the county, to get the information. Who lives there? Because what I do in my subdivision is I make sure we have a copy of the lease when the person lives somewhere else. And the reason I know they live somewhere else, because you have a New York address, but this is in Georgia. So anytime anything is sent out, it's sent to, I instructed my HOA, my management company, to send literature to both, notifications to both, because we're going after the owner, because they're responsible. So you need to find out who that owner is. So then you can then inform the owner if they don't know, or inform law enforcement, okay? And they'll take care of it, okay? I'm done, I'm not gonna belabor, but I said hand. Jane, stand up, please, darling.
House Bill 1292, that's where people go and try to take your property.
Oh, yeah.
Take your property without any type of ID or anything like that. They take your property, but as of January 2025, it takes effect, they got that ID. Now, you don't have to have any kind of ID or anything, you can go have affidavit and try to take your property.
But, and I'm gonna say this last thing, I just want you all to know that there are a number of my colleagues on the Senate and the House side that do not have an appetite for HOAs. We have so many, well, this is the problem, like, my HOA, when I heard those stories, some of the stuff, like, what? They do what? But it happens. And so now they're trying to make the law stricter and stricter, okay? The one thing that I have a problem with is you have to register your covenant with the state, but the state doesn't help you endorse anything that's in that covenant. And people know that. They don't. They're like, okay, you paid your money, it's on record, thank you, goodbye. But there are bad actors, and we have to address that. Because I'm hearing so many different stories, like taking your property for minimal amount of money and doing all kinds of things, which is ridiculous to me. So just be on guard, just read the bill, understand the power you have. You have the power. And so make sure your management companies, if you have one, make sure they know you are in control and you will make the decisions.
All right, so we're going to ask, we're going to let Mr. Driscoll talk about HOA records requests right quick so we can try to get through all of our topics. We're trying to make copies now of the bill so that we can pass those out, but we will also make it available on our website at hoaalliance.org. Please consider getting a membership. It's a complete nonprofit. We do all these events free. So, and come help us too. Come help volunteer. We need you. What I'd like to do before we go into HOA records requests, I'd like to ask David Gates from Emergency Roofing Solutions to come up and just speak right quick for 60 seconds and tell people about what he's doing. And then we'll have Cooper and Gray come up for 60 seconds. Following that, we'll talk about what they're doing. Certainly, please support our vendors. They're part of the reason that we can help continue to do these things for free. So just give a 60-second spiel, if you will, Dave.
With David Gates with Emergency Roofing Solutions. Our business has been established for the last 10 years. We opened up a insurance side of it about 3 years ago. What we're doing is dealing with replacement and repairs. We also do spray, but when it comes to dealing with your insurance companies, a lot of people don't realize you deal with the agent initially, right? But when you put in a claim, now you're dealing with the adjuster. So everybody is dedicated and believes in their agent that they gave them the policy or sold them the policy, but that person ain't involved once it comes to your claim. So when you start dealing with your claims, make sure that you have a proper representation working with you. And then if your roof is 12 years or older, always get it inspected every 2 years or after any storm. Because what happens is it changes from replacement cost value to actual cash value. So you want to stay in front of your insurance agent or your insurance company to make sure if you're due a replacement that you get it replaced with the assistance of the insurance company. So I have my cards back there. Yes, sir.
Quick question. Your name of your company?
Emergency Roofing Solutions.
Is emergency roofing a Bob business? Is emergency roofing a Bob business? B-O-B?
No, sir. What is a Bob business? I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm one of the owners here. I'm sitting there like, what? Okay, yeah. No, I'm part of the owner. I'm one of the Yes, sir. I'm one of the owners. My apologies.
So, thank you, Mr. Gates. Please consider visiting his table in the back. We also have someone from Cooper and Gray. If you will, just give us 60-second spiel to let them know who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Tyler Richards, and I work for Cooper and Gray Management Company. Just wanted to know, by starting off, we are a Black-owned business. Yes. Visit our table. Also tonight, we are doing a giveaway basket. If you would be able to fill out the form, and you will place your name in the basket and be able to draw it at the end of the event. But the biggest thing that I noticed between the concerns between each and every one of you that you spoke tonight was communication. And I think the mishap or the misleading things about HOAs is that we serve you. So we work for you just as your sheriffs, your commissioners. We work for you. The concerns that you have in your communities are things that you have to bring to us, and in collaboration we will help you. But we don't make the decision for you. And so, like you said, speaking to those who live in your communities and making sure that you collaborate and come to us and say, this is a decision that we made, because we don't make decisions on your behalf. That's not how it works. And I think that's where things can get misaligned, and that's when, honestly, people become frustrated with their communities. So again, thank you for having us this evening, and please visit our table because we do want to do a giveaway tonight.
All right. And I think emergency roofing is doing money back to the HOA for anyone that does.
Yes, so if we end up completing the inspection and it ends up being where we actually do the work for the homeowner, then we are giving referrals or money back to the HOA to help support the HOA.
So can I get your card just so we can get some roof repairs done?
Yes. After we finish this next slide, he's right in the back.
Yes.
We're gonna go ahead, right? We're gonna go get to open books and records.
This is not going to take long. One of the number one questions I get, right, is in reference to getting hands on HOA or community association records. So I know we're used to open records requests. In actuality, it's called open books and review. That's what it's called. So if you look at your governing documents, it specifies the process for requesting access to those records. So if we take it back to the official code of Georgia, they identify specific categories of records that you all have a right as members to access. And I'm not going to progress through all of this for you guys because we're going to give you the slides soon. Well, that's okay with that. I think I always spend a lot of time on this because I can't even see the mouse. Oh, there it is. Right, so just take a look at those records. We'll make sure you get these slides for your reference. And plus I blogged about it, so when you see that scan code at the end, I'll pull that up. You can just scan and go right to the site. I provide you with an example stepping through the process. Here's the key. What's the number one way you all asked to look at records? Well, I told the board member I wanted to see those financial records, or I called the management company and I told them I want to see the records. Or I talked to the attorney and I told them I wanted to see the records. No, everything has to be done in writing based on the process that's outlined. But here's the catcher for some of us, right? Remember I spoke about the Official Code of Georgia speaking to specific categories of records that you all can take a look at. Some of your governing documents don't even speak to it. So you have to defer to the Official Code of Georgia. The attorneys that represent, most attorneys, I won't say them all, that represent your community, they take advantage of that. So you will ask for records that are not specified in the Official Code of Georgia, which may be another area we need to enhance. You will only get access to those records, like contracts for vendors. They can refuse those if it's not specified in your governing documents. Like in my community, it specifies that the community association has to maintain all records, and all records are available to the community. So I can go in and get the contact database for the community or all of the residents, even though that's not the way I did it. I knocked on doors. If it says all records, then you have access to all records. But generally what most communities do, they're redacting names. Like I wanted to know who's behind on dues and how much. I couldn't get that when I was not on the board. So this is where it's confusing. If your governing documents specify that you have access to additional records, like all records, then you have access to, guess what? All records. But if they don't state it or mention it, then you have to defer to the Official Code of Georgia. I think it's 14-3-1601. Oh, I got it up there? Oh, okay. So, in 1602. Pay attention, folks. Look, I used to put my son to sleep reading those documents to him. It put me to sleep. They're not exciting. That's why I don't see how, you can be an attorney and still stay awake. Because this makes for boring reading. So just read the documents, follow it to the T. I'll put the barcode up, or the QR code, scan it. You can take a look at the blog that I spelled out with the actual example. You can copy and paste the example. I described it. I put square braces, say your community here. You got to specify the reason. That's another reason why it's failed. You got to give it, you got to specify a legitimate reason. Don't say, oh, I think the board's stealing. You're not going to get to see those records, right? For personal reasons and for legitimate reasons. You have to specify a legitimate reason as it relates to being a member. I am curious, or I want to make sure I understand the budget that's being allocated for all of the expenditures in my community.
May I ask
Right?
a question to that? So each HOA or POA does not have to disclose the budget every year?
No, they're supposed to, and that's a good question, right?
Because we do it every year.
Yeah, so technically, you asked about shouldn't they come back to the community for approval. Most members don't realize that you all have to sign on the budget, sign off on the budget. You can push back at an annual meeting. You ever notice that some board members or associations bring the budget to the meeting? Technically, they're supposed to get it out to you at least two weeks before the annual meeting. But of course, they're volunteers, but if you got hired guns like the management company, they're supposed to be timely with sharing that information with you. So I'm not going to take up a lot of time. I may even go ahead and record a video, but this blog, it gets a lot of play because people want to know how to do it. And no, I'm not a Bob. I know.
The question is this: when you've gotten that, you put it in writing, you're actually reviewing the record, you've been specific, you want to know specifically what you want to see, and can you get a copy of those records? Or you can only go in and memorize it?
You should get copies, right? And they will charge you. They will charge you. But it's, I didn't think it was that expensive.
Right?
Well, I've seen some community associations try to discourage review of those records because as a part of your rights, you provide oversight.
So
that's the way it works.
So I think the important point here, and as Darrell stated, OCGA 14.3.1601 outlines the rights of members to inspect and copy association records.
Yes,
All right.
so we have to go ahead and make notes or.
OCGA 14.3.1602 specifies that the records that must be, the specific records that must be provided to members upon request. So there's a list of records that they have to provide that's outlined in the statute, okay? But now here's what they do. He asked, can you go make a copy? Well, Carell showed me how to do it because they charge you per copy, right? Depending on what you request.
That's no problem.
Well, it may or it might not be. But let me tell you what we did. He took his scanner, and when he told me he took his scanner, I took my scanner. So you can't charge me for no copies because I brought my scanner. I scanned them all in.
Good idea.
Okay.
Good idea.
And then, I don't need your paper. I don't need your ink. I just need to be able to scan. So, if they refuse to let you scan,
Okay, so I'm a lay person. He's an attorney. He's going to give you the legal thing.
if they refuse,
One of the things that I've encouraged many members to do is journalize your interaction with the board and the management company. You understand what I mean by that, right? If you send them if I put everything in writing, even if I talk to you on the phone or face to face, I go back and regurgitate my understanding of the conversation and send it to them. If they don't respond, guess what? That means it's right, it's valid.
Right.
So I've learned from going to court, I'll be honest with you, I don't like riding by Fulton County Courthouse. I'll ride all the way up by the Capitol on the other side to avoid riding. I spent so much time in there. What I've learned is judges don't like recollection. They want records. So keep a journal. I mean, when I got off the board, me and my wife finally exercised permission to put a cover over our deck, I get a text message saying cease and desist. Now I didn't have to respond, but I did. And I said, I didn't give you permission to text me in reference to some major violation. I didn't give you permission to even email me. I said, but you can do it, but you better send me a letter to make sure that I get it. That's number one, hold on. Number two, she said, well, we don't have any proof of it. Okay, I'll be happy to send it over to you. So I sent over the approval letter. I journalize every email, print them out the PDF, and record them in my Excel spreadsheet. She told me, well, we don't have a way to validate that. I said, well, ma'am, how do you validate it? Cricket, she ignored all my questions, legitimate questions. I already knew how you validate it. It's the letter. See, this is why you all have to read those documents and follow them to a T. A lot of you all are being pushed to the side because you think telling somebody is a required way to request, reveal those records. This is the power of your oversight. This is how you keep an eye on your association. And don't run around saying, oh, the board is corrupt, they're stealing. Let me tell you something, even if you write, you got the proof in hand. Do not say someone is stealing or committing theft as a stated fact. You know why? You don't have the authority to decide that. Only the trier of fact. That was a big word I had to learn all those years I was going to court. Only a judge and jury can decide that somebody has committed a crime. I don't care if you got them on the picture. Do not say, and I'm telling you because you don't have the insurance. I was blessed to be on the board at that time with my mouth, that I was covered by insurance.
So hold on,
give you the best
that's
advice I can
very
give you.
important. I'm sorry, I'm gonna interject right there. We'll come to you in one moment. If you are on the board, how many people know if you have D&O or E&O insurance? If you are on a board, you want to make sure that your HOA board or any board that you're on has, sometimes it's called D&O and sometimes it's called E&O. What it is errors and omissions insurance for directors and officers. So E&O or D&O, make sure you have that so that if you get sued, you have coverage and you don't have to pay for the lawyer out your pocket and they don't come after your house. So just briefly, You see here, submit a written request, establish good faith and proper purpose, review timeframes and conditions, comply with the inspection conditions, review and copy records, and address disputes through proper channels. And that's what you were saying. If they don't do it, what you want to do is exactly what Carell was saying.
I ain't never been accused of being tall.
What you want to do exactly what Carell is saying, document the process so that if they did do it, if they don't respond and they're supposed to, you've got it in writing and you can use that later. You want to build a proper paper trail so that you can use that to fight later. Yes, ma'am. It may help others hear you.
Can I put it in layman terms?
Yes.
What I've learned is that whenever you feel that you have been done wrong, you have to litigate. That's the last thing that you want. Because I'll be honest with you, how many of us sit around and take money, sit it to the side to sue the HOA? That's not the route that we want to take.
And then when you do it, and then when you sue them, you got to pay for your lawyer fees and their lawyer fees.
That's what your dudes do.
They're going to specially assess their lawyer fees to you because you're the one that wrote them the letter. They wouldn't have to pay for those attorney's fees outside of you making the specific request that you're making. So it's a special assessment directly to your account. Now, what I will say is the other ways that we talked about without having to file a lawsuit, right? Talk to your board members, right? I mean, number one, if you're on the board and they're not compliant, first of all, anybody on the board should have complete, unfettered access to any and all records. Anybody on the board should have complete and unfettered access to any and all records. And if somebody won't give you a copy of your records, fire them. And if you can't fire them, we have them removed. And there are steps to take them removed. Typically in an HOA, to remove a board member, you gotta have 25% to call the meeting, but don't get excited about that because at the meeting, you gotta have 51% to get them removed. Now, if you're in an HOA that's 200 homes or less, you might get lucky. If you're in a 1,000-person HOA, you'll never get it done. And 200 will be hard enough. Really, you probably need 100 or less to try to have a quorum and actually get some action taken. But there are other things that you can do, or you just wait. See, there's supposed to be an annual election. So depending on when the next election is, you might just wait till the next election. What we did was, we waited till the next election, and guess what we did? Because I'm a politician, I went out and got some yard signs.
But this is
and
before
put
you
them
got in
up.
office, though.
Right? So,
And we knocked on doors and had our own meetings. Have your own meetings.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all of that you're saying, we've done that in our county association. They called the police on us. They said that we were.
It's called intimidation.
Right.
That didn't stop us.
But you knocked on the door, they called it soliciting. Wait, who called them?
But you're a member. Okay.
well, what about the board members?
She's a board member.
They're supporting it.
Okay. So I'm just gonna say this one time and you all probably gonna bash me. I blame that on the voters. You voted them into that position.
They've been there for 10 years. They've been there for 10 years and they won't go.
No, let me say this to you, and I have a letter from the attorney. We were told that we would have to have our annual meeting on Zoom. Our doctor, and that was, the first we did was that during the pandemic. The records, the ballots were mailed out. They said that they had to be sent out in a specific envelope, and that if there wasn't an envelope, they were not going to be counted. All right, so we got an email from the attorney it was not done the way it was constructed. And they recommended that we do the election again. And the management company.
I don't trust them either.
And the board decided no. So don't say that we can vote them out. How you vote somebody out when you're doing stuff also?
So one of the
Hang on
things,
a second, hang on a second. Tell me, what subdivision are you in?
Shannon Middle Stockton.
And where is that located?
That's London's district.
so here's what we had to do in our HOA. They wouldn't give us an election, and I went and filed a lawsuit for an election. I filed a lawsuit to get them to, there was no other option, right? And so sometimes if you can't get any further, you have to file a lawsuit. But I would say the same thing Carell said, you really want to make that the last option. Because you're basically suing yourself, and so, well, I mean,
If you don't do that, you have to make the right decision. Yes, I'm gonna sue you.
Folks, don't go around suing if you don't have to. Track everything. Look, hold on. How many know about the power of the proxy? You don't. Because, hold on. That's because, okay, here's my recommendation for tonight. Go back and read your documents.
So I will tell you another thing is you can have typically homeowners can have an attorney at the election and monitor the election.
They did. They muted him.
So what?
All right, so can I please make one
Wait, hang on a second, because what it sounds like I'm hearing is that we may need to have a more in-depth and detailed conversation with y'all specifically. So Tamiko's here somewhere.
Should probably take the smoke break.
Right, I'm gonna have Tamiko, wait, cause we're gonna run out of time. We only got 20 minutes left.
You made me write all this down.
No. I'm gonna have Tamiko get your information. And I will get with Carell and the commissioner, and we'll pull together a meeting specifically for y'all so we can sit down and work through y'all's issues. Because, we want to make sure we get through all the information for everybody, but we also want to make sure that we're taking care of y'all and the problem, your specific problem that you're having. So if that's agreeable with you, so that we can have a meeting to follow up and sit down together in more detail and kind of walk it through.
So we're in Union City, we have our own council, and we approached them about this in writing, and they say that they don't deal with the
I have a question. Who is your management? Okay.
So we'll take
And
that
I'm
and
saying, let me say this. When I referenced earlier, I was at a homeowners association meeting because I've been the president for so long. I get phone calls to come help, and the management company was there, and I was able to help smooth that election out. And I'm not trying to make you think because I am a state representative that I have all the power, but when people realize who's in the room, sometimes they act different.
They do.
So that's why I went there, and because I was knowledgeable.
You're absolutely correct about that, but we can't get anybody in the room.
Well,
And we call the news media, we've done all of that stuff and without any response or anything. Linda Pritchard was back trying to help us,
The board and management are like this.
Okay. So I hear what you're saying. I recognize that you're in Union City, and that you may have different representation. But I think the reality is we've got some resources in the room that can potentially help you. So even though you may live in Union City and you may be in a different district with different representation, I still want to put you in the room with some resources that could help you walk through some of these problems and perhaps coach you on how to get to a resolution where you are. So if you would just if you're agreeable to that and would just allow me to set that meeting up, even though I don't represent you, she may not represent you, but at the end of the day, regardless of who we were elected to represent, we were all elected to solve a problem.
But my title says state.
Right.
So it's
our
the state
title
of
says-
Georgia. And what I do, when I go in somebody else's district, one of my colleagues, I let them know. So, I'm just telling you,
So,
I will go outside my
So, and
district.
I'm happy to facilitate this, to try to get y'all to a resolution, get some resources in your hand that can help you solve the problem. Okay, you're welcome.
And so I think
We've got about 15 minutes left.
I think really, we could probably stop it here unless there are any specific questions and deal with anything else direct one-on-one. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with this deal. I was voted president of HOA. My question is, like POA versus HOA, driving out subdivision, you see mandatory HOA. The secretary told me that, you know you are POA, so how would you switch, or how do I know?
So you have to look at your declaration. Declaration of Protective Covenants will tell you whether you are an HOA or a POA. And if you are HOA, typically what you have to do, you have to have a vote of the homeowners, and then you have to have a resolution to go from an HOA to a POA, and you have to amend the bylaws and the declaration in order to accommodate that. Now, again, they've been trying to do some sneaky things to find shortcuts to get there, but that's the Declaration of Protective Covenants. And again, that's like, somebody it's 100 acres out there, or this courtyard out here. If you want to be in that courtyard, you got to wear a white hat, right? It's the rules that run with the land. Yes, ma'am.
So, okay, if I understood you correctly, you said POA could automatically put a lien on your house, $2,000 for flood. You're speaking HOA, they could put a lien on your house, but they can't make you foreclose or whatever. So how do you?
Well, they can get you foreclosed.
That's my question, that was my question.
One is automatic.
So with a condo association and a POA, there's an automatic statutory lien. With an HOA, there's no automatic statutory lien. So in order to get a lien, you have to have a judgment first. So first you have to get a judgment, then you have to get a lien, and then you have to try to foreclose. But I don't think it's really that easy in an HOA.
We don't even try.
Yes, ma'am.
When we see stuff on TV, it's like.
I'm in a community where we had an HOA, and it's, the same community we work for, where we had an HOA, it's inactive. We need some help getting it active again. Is that something somebody can help us?
So, again, I think it's just ideas, right? Ice cream social, I don't know if you got a pool or a clubhouse or any of those things. I laughed and joked earlier, I said fried chicken and watermelon. You gotta do whatever it takes to get people.
I don't know the process, do I have to get people on board to agree? Do I have to? What is the?
We did a block party.
You need an
And
election.
invited everybody, included everybody,
So
and
do I have
then
to
you
get a
take down.
petition signed?
That, you
So
said, whatever it
we
is.
would need to-
I don't know what I have.
We would need to follow up to see exactly what's going on in your situation to give you specific advice about that.
If
That's
you,
what I'm saying, what resources are available?
So you we have, what year is this? We've got 12 years of information and videos on our website at HOAalliance.org. So go to the website, HOAalliance.org, consider getting a membership, and then consider helping us, because all we're doing is trying to pay forward the help that we got. And so if we can turn everybody here into an army to pay forward for the help that they got, then we can do, I have a saying, no one can help everyone, but everyone can help someone. And imagine if everyone in here tonight helps someone else with their HOA issue. Imagine the impact we can have. Mayor Edwards, come up and say hello before we get out of here. Yes, sir.
As
that Alpha in the building? Is that the Alpha in the building?
All right, we got one question. We got a couple questions and we're gonna get out of here. Yes, sir.
My situation is slightly different. This is what I need. I need, City of South Florida code enforcement director. Not under the director, so that I can create a relationship with Tasha, because I need.
He's saying his connection to code enforcement in the city of South Fulton. So certainly Councilwoman Williams and her assistant can help you with that, and put you in touch with code enforcement. So that shouldn't be a problem. Yes, ma'am.
In reference to her question, if you said your HOA was already in existence already,
It's just not.
they have to register the HOA with the Secretary of State. You can go on that website to see if they have not paid their annual fees. And then if you want, you can have the members and sign off on that again and pay the fees to have it reactive.
Reinstated, yes.
That's
Reinstate, you can reinstate the association, which is the incorporation. You can reinstate the nonprofit corporation pursuant to the Georgia Nonprofit Corporation Code. Because the yeah, typically the bylaws are on the Georgia Secretary of State website. Frankly, really, the articles of incorporation are there. You may or may not find the bylaws or a declaration of protective covenants, but the clerk of Superior Court has them in the real estate records, and you can also find them at gsccccca.org. Any more questions?
Is the Freedom of Information Act document, the point of document on your website so we can print it out and fill it out?
So let's be real clear. Freedom of Information Act is a request to like a state government or a U.S. government. What you're asking about is
we want to get the documents, so when we do a request for documents and records to the HOA, I would like to include the FOIA document with it.
So
is that document on your website?
So the word FOIA, sir, I'm trying to let you know that's wrong. That's for the U.S. government, a Freedom of Information Act request. Not for it's a records request, right? So yes, we have a sample letter on our website where you.
Not for the HOA.
It is for the HOA, yes, sir.
Okay.
But it's not a FOIA.
Okay.
It's not a FOIA request. It's similar. It's basically the same thing.
It's a template.
What is it?
It's a template. That's what I provide you on my blog.
What is it
See,
called?
this is some of it.
Example request.
Okay.
It's a sample. It's a sample letter that you can use or modify.
So let me explain.
Yes.
So you see here, I got some of the text up here. Oops, didn't mean to come out of it. There it is. As soon as I can find the mouse. Okay, so, and I'm blocking most of it, but this is, you can copy and paste this off the blog site where example document, I give some example files, or I'm sorry, records that I want. I step through there and I just itemize that list of what I'm looking for. Generally, they have to keep 3 years of records. Some of them by state have to be longer. Some of them are forever. And you just specify what you're looking for, sign it, and you notice I said delete before sharing. So I give you detailed instructions when you copy and paste this template into your Word document, and you replace it with your community name, etc. I think I've got another thing here. Went forward. So this is the start. Example letter, contact information. And notice here I reference my governing document section. This may be
that's important.
You
want to say pursuant to paragraph 14.3 of the Declaration of Protective Covenants, I am requesting this information.
Yep. And see, I put we respectfully because I'm speaking for my household. And by the way, don't request records on behalf of everybody in the community.
Right.
Because you all can't go at the same time. look, send them multiple letters if you have to show them that you're serious. But don't bring that drama. Go in there and be professional, because I used to bring a lot of drama. People didn't want to respond to my drama. So just be professional, right? And I spell it out for you, follow up. This is the follow-up message, because I think in our governing documents, I think they had 5 days to respond. If I didn't hear from them in 5 days, there's my follow-up message.
I'll tell you the funny thing, once we took over and we got hold of all the records,
oh my God,
we got a chance to see all the stuff they were saying about us behind our backs.
And they weren't being Mr. Charlie. I can say it about that.
Okay, so we're gonna let you be the last question because we're out of time.
Okay.
Is there a way to get a copy of the development plan?
Ooh.
Well, what you said the development plan, what you really, I think, talking about is the site plan, right, or the plat. The plat, that is in the Clerk of Superior Court records, you can get the plat.
You want a copy of your plat, and generally it's gonna be broken up.
GSCCCA.org, you can get a copy of the plat.
All right, so look, there's your scan. You can just use your camera. Don't take a picture of me, man. I take all the pictures.
Yes, we will.
You need to get She got one more question. I can't hear her.
The HOA is specific, so that if something individual behind you is going to have this problem individual.
I coach communities up in DC. Well, I don't have a single
Has everybody had a chance to scan the QR code? Because we want to make sure that
Let it come up
you
here.
get all the information before we leave.
And are they going to get a copy of this?
So thank you all for coming out. Let's give yourselves a big round of applause. And wait, before you go, sign up for the basket because Cooper and Gray is giving away a gift basket.
Tell us what they actually
React.